What's up, guys? It's Carrington. As you guys can tell behind me, today we're doing a review of the C7 Z06 Corvette with a manual transmission. This is a wonderful sports car opportunity in the market around $60,000 to $70,000. So we're gonna see how I enjoy it, especially as somebody who is not the most into American cars. The first Corvette that I drove was the C8, and so this is gonna be a completely different experience. Front engine, rear wheel drive, as opposed to mid engine, rear wheel drive, manual transmission versus dual clutch. So what do we notice when we're first setting off? First thing, the clutch is extremely easy to use. It's not notchy at all. It's very, very user friendly. And so it's not gonna be a tough thing to operate. The shift knob itself, when you put each shift into gear, it's very, very assertive, very, very heavy in its feeling. It's a Tremec manual transmission. So it's going to be a lot more preferred compared to other transmissions that GM uses. This has 650 horsepower and 650 torque. One of the first things you'll also notice is, in the best way possible, this feels like you are in the back of a roller coaster. You have this long bonnet right in front of you, and you can feel that when you turn, you are on that back axle. Pretty decent ride too, and this is in, I think, track mode, so the ride is definitely communicative, but it's not punishing you like a GT3 or something like that. And also you'll notice the steering. So this is an electric steering unit, and when you are at slow speeds, there's pretty much no feel whatsoever. You just kind of feel like you're in a video game almost. However, when you do get up to speed, it definitely starts to weighten up a little and starts to communicate a lot more to you with the imperfections on the road. So you actually do feel the crevices and bumps in the road. And while we're stopped, let's just talk about the interior. This is a huge step up from the C6 Corvette, which really had a cheap interior. So you have leather on the dashboard, you have satin carbon fiber on the center here, and then also on the steering wheel as well. And so comparatively to the C6, this is a huge step up. However, I think that the C8 even made a bigger step up. However, you don't get this manual transmission and you don't get the same rawness as you do in the C7. And that's one of the best things about a supercharged engine. You're not waiting for anything to spool up. It just kind of gives you instant torque. Steering is pretty heavy once you start weighting it up and going at speed. Communicates extremely well, especially for an EPS unit. Ride is very, very controlled. I think this is Magna Ride dampers, so definitely no luxury car, but certainly not like a track special focused car. Plenty of power. Good traction control system, because 650 pounds-feet of torque to the rear is just a lot to ask for. And the traction control kind of keeps you in check in a really, really good way. It allows you to slip a little, but it's not going to result in any accidents or issues. As long as you're smart with it. If you're blipping the throttle mid-corner, then things might take a turn for the worst. A lot of grip. It doesn't even feel like you're asking the car of much. Doesn't have the nicest engine tone to it, but it's definitely very aggressive. It's not going to rev super high like a Ferrari or anything like that. It's not going to sound very melodic, but it's very brutish. That's the whole point of this car. It's not meant to be like a Porsche where you're like delicately driving the car. No, this is like a freaking sledgehammer. I really thought this car would be a lot harder to drive than it actually is. I really credit that to the traction control system because, yeah, without traction control, you would be all over the road. Heavy steering. One thing to note also is that the visibility is kind of not good because of the blind spots in your rear three quarters. So you also have the option to turn on auto rev matching, but I like to keep that off just because I want to be able to drive this car, not have it drive me. It's just a very interesting experience. You have this long bonnet, this hood that kind of comes up. It's definitely a different driving experience compared to a normal car. Very linear power delivery, so it's not like you're waiting for a big spike of the turbos to light up the rear tires. If you want to light it up, you're going to have to prompt that with the throttle response. However, if you're very smooth with your throttle input, you're not going to get as much wheel spin as you probably think you will. Good brakes, good modulation, not overly bitey or grabby, not overly hard like a race car, kind of in between. You can tell that there's a lot of grip to be had. However, when you do exceed the limit of that grip, you're definitely going to kind of break away pretty quickly, especially sitting on the rear end. So be careful, be careful. But yeah, guys, anyways, that was the C7 Corvette. Overall, it's a very, very interesting driving experience, completely different to a mid-engine car. This is a lot more raw, a lot more, I would say, masculine, a lot more involving in the driving experience. You have to tame that rear end, which you don't have to do as much in the C8 Corvettes, whether that's the Stingray or the Z06. You just have that weight hanging over the rear compared to this, where it's kind of like an even 50-50 split. And so there's benefits and drawbacks to that. So you really have to kind of think about what you're going for in terms of the driving experience for a vehicle like this. If you're spending 60 to 80 grand on a sports car. Very easy car to drive. That was the number one takeaway that I noticed. It's a very easy car to drive, not as hard as I thought it would. Just if we take the notion that it's a stick supercharged V8 with 650 horsepower and 650 pound-feet of torque to the rear wheels only. That's, on paper, a lot to handle. However, this car really does it well. Shout out to GM and how they engineered this. And the traction control is also really, really what helps a vehicle like this not end up in a tree, for instance. But yeah, guys, that's the video. And don't forget to like and subscribe. If you're interested in this vehicle, go check out Washington Exotics. It's here for sale. So yeah, guys, that's the video. Till next time.